Bismillah, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirrabbilalamin, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'du. Hello guys, welcome back to another video of Teacher of the Day. So today here, I'm going to be the teacher in this session and in this occasion. So for today's lesson, I'm going to maybe explain about a redistribute or redistribution in EIGRP and OSPF. Yes, OSPF. So first of all, what is EIGRP? EIGRP stands for Enhanced Interior Routing Protocol. Enhanced Interior Gateway Routing Protocol. Yes, there is one of a kind of routing protocol in Cisco, and it's a special routing protocol for Cisco. Okay, it cannot be used in other vendor. And then for OSPF stands for Open Shortest Path First. It's one of kind of a routing protocol also, but OSPF it can use not only in Cisco, but it can be used in other vendor such as Mikrotik and others. So in this occasion, I'm going to explain about redistribution. So what is redistribution? Redistribution is a process where we are trying to connect or one of a routing protocol trying to communicate with other routing protocols. For example, as you can see here, there is 3 routers, router 1, 2, and 3. So for example here, we're going to configure the first router here, router 1, with a routing protocol EIGRP. And for the third router here, or the router number 3, we're going to configure as OSPF for the routing protocol. While the second router, we're going to configure both of them. Okay, so redistribute is to connect between 2 routing protocols and enables them to share their routing information. So without any further ado, maybe we're going to hop on to the configuration. Let's practice it. So first, of course, we need to configure the basic configuration for all the routers. Okay. First, we need to enable and then configuration terminal. Here is for the first router. Sorry. Okay, we're going to configure this interface Ethernet 0/0 with the IP 10.10.10 yes, 10.10 like this. We need to shut down it first, and then IP address 10.10.1. okay, like this. And don't forget to add the subnet mask to it and then enter. Okay, that is for router number 1. For the interface that connects to the second router with the IP 10.1. Now we're going to add a interface loopback for it. So interface LO0 like this. Add an IP address to it 1.1.1, and then add the subnet mask 255.255 as the results of prefix 32. Okay. Now moving on to the second router. Okay, hop into the configuration terminal, and then we're going to configure the interface Ethernet /0/0 that connects to the first router. So with the same IP network, but with a different host. Interface Ethernet 0/0, and then shut down it to enable the interface. And then we're going to add the IP address 0.2, okay? And then add the subnet mask 0.0 as the results, with the result of prefix 24. Now moving on, and add another interface loopback for it for each router, we're going to add one interface, a loopback interface. Now we're going to add the IP address as 2.2.2, and we're going to add subnet mask with the results of prefix 32. Okay. Now we're going to add another IP in the router 2 for the second interface with Ethernet 0/1 that connects to the router 3. Okay. Sorry. Router 2 here. Interface Ethernet 0/1. Enables it first. And then add an IP address. We're going to put it as 2022. And don't forget the subnet mask. Exit. Okay, done. Now moving on to the third router. Sorry. Enables it. Hop into the configuration terminal. Now we're going to add the interface, the IP address for the interface that connects to the second router. Okay, and that is the interface Ethernet 0/1, as you can see here in the router 3. Okay, maybe I'm going to make it easier to look at. Okay, now hop into the interface, add an IP address 20.3, because this is the third router. Add the subnet mask, and don't forget to enable the interface. And just type no shutdown, or you can shorten it by typing no sh, stands for shutdown. Now, okay, especially in the third router, we're going to add maybe a couple more of interface loopback, not only one, because in the other routers we only add one interface loopback, but in this third router we're going to add a couple more. So because later when we demonstrate it, when we do a redistribute, so the router 3 will give the routing information, the routing table, to the routers in other routing protocol. Okay, so we're going to add it first. This one is, sorry, iPad. $255. Okay. Hey, sorry. No, sorry, there's a mistake here. Okay, now we're going to hop and create a new interface loopback 2, add an IP address, maybe with a different host. Maybe, I think it's enough if we add only 2 of it. So to make it quick, let's just hop on to the redistribution configuration. So wait, before we configure the redistribution, we need to configure the routing in each router. So like I mentioned in the first, that we're going to configure router 1 is the EIGRP configuration, or EIGRP routing protocol, and for the third router we're going to configure as the OSPF routing protocol. Okay, hop onto the first router terminal, type router OSPF, router EIGRP, 10, or for the number, the AS number, you can type anything. Here we're going to type the network of the IP that the router has. For example, here we have 10.10.0. Don't forget the subnet mask or the wildcard mask. And then, sorry, network. Yeah, like this. Okay, we have configured the first router, and for the routing protocol, we use it as EIGRP. Now, for the second router, we're going to configure two routing protocols in this router because it is like a bridge. It is in the middle between two routing protocols. Okay, and it works as a bridge that we are going to configure the distribution in. Okay, first we're going to configure the EIGRP. For the network IP, then the network IP that we're going to insert in this routing protocol is the IP that connects to the first router, because the first router is the one that used the EIGRP routing protocol. So it means we're going to insert 10.10.10.0. Like this. Okay, and for the IP loopback, you can insert it up to you. If you want to insert it in this EIGRP routing protocol for the IP loopback, you can insert it here. Or if you want to insert it in the OSPF routing protocol, you can also insert it in that routing protocol. But just to make it quick, I'm going to insert it here. So network 222. Okay, like this. Now moving on to the second routing protocol, OSPF. Like this. Insert it with the network that connects to the third router, with the IP that connects to the router number 3. Okay, there's a mistake. 20.0 with the subnet mask. Yes. Oh, sorry. Oh yeah. In OSPF routing, we need to configure the area for it, and because there is only one area here, and there is only one router that used the OSPF routing protocol, so we're going to use area backbone or area 0. So just type area 0. Sorry, like this. Okay. So type network 20. So type the network, the IP network in this second router that used routing protocol as OSPF. Type the wildcard mask, the opposite of subnet mask, and then type the area. Okay. If you use area 1, you can type area 1, but in order to use the area 1 or the first area, it needs to connect to the area backbone or the area 0. Okay, and done. Now moving on to the third router, the router number 3. We're going to configure it with a OSPF routing protocol. So OSPF 10. Now for network, there is 3 IP address network address that we have to insert in this routing protocol. The first one is the IP with the interface that connects to the second router. Here it is. Sorry. So just type it here. Don't forget the wildcard mask and the area. To make it simple, we just use area 0, both of them. And then type, there is 2 IP address left. There is the IP address of the interface loopback. We configure it 2 interfaces, so we need to configure 2 IP address. Network 333, wildcard mask, and then don't forget the area, and one more. Sorry, the only difference is the host here. Okay, Okay, now we have done, or we just finished configuring the routing protocol for each routers. We can actually show it here. Do show run, or maybe do show IP route to see the routing table in routers. And as you can see, it has already connected. And when we look at the second router, we show IP routes. There. For in the second router, the routing table is quite many because it connects to two routers. I mean, the first router with the routing protocol EIGRP, and the second is with the routing protocol OSPF. That's why it's quite many here. It's quite a lot. Now, for the redistribution, we're going to configure it in the second router to connect between two routing protocols and to make them enables them to communicate or to share their routing information. Now, first we're going to configure it in EIGRP here. So in EIGRP here, we're going to connect it to OSPF. For the configuration itself, just type Redistribute like this, and then type the OSPF with the AS number or number 10 here, the number we configured last time, and then insert metric. Or actually there is actually a couple of ways you can set the redistribution or configure the redistribution. There is match, metric with map. Okay, there is 3 types, but here I'm going to show you using metrics, to configure it using metric. Metric. Now, in metric, we need to configure or type a couple of numbers. For example, here, the first one, we need to set the bandwidth number. Okay, to make it a default, or maybe to make it easier, I'm just going to type 1, and then we need to, okay, and then we need to configure the delay metric numbers. Type it as 1, and then there is reliability. Type 1, and then there is effective bandwidth. Type 1. One more, and last is MTU. Type 1. There. So if you use metric, there is a specific numbers that you have to configure yourself. There is 3 types. There's 5. There is bandwidth, delay, reliability, effective bandwidth, and MTU. Okay, now moving on to OSPF redistribution configuration. Now, router OSPF 10, redistribute, EIGRP 10. Now here, there is a couple of ways or types that you can use the redistribute. There is metric type, NSSA only, with map, subnets, and tag. But here, to make it easier, we're going to use subnets. Okay, to make it short, just type subnets and enter. Done. It's done just like that. And I hope it works. You show, not here. It's supposed to work actually. Do show IP route here. And yeah, and as you can see, in the first router with the configuration of routing protocol EIGRP, or with the configuration EIGRP routing protocol, there is a routing table here with the X here, EX. It means external. It got the IP from the external or the ASBR router that connects the first router and the other routing protocol. And as you can see, this is the IP, the loopback IP from the third router. Okay, so it means it has connected and it already shared the routing protocol information, routing information. Now let's check to the third router. Do show IP route. Oh. And there, as you can see, there is E2. E2, it means OSPF external type 2. Okay? So it means it's from external or from other routing protocol. That's not from the same routing protocol. It means it's from ISBR or the router that connects between them two. And as you can see, there's the IP, the loopback IP from the first router. And yeah, so it means we already succeed in configuring the redistribution between these two routing protocols. Okay, maybe that's all for this today's session of TOTD, Teacher of the Day, with me Muaz Ibnu Safar. Thank you for your attention. Shukran. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.